Welcome, Liz. It's been a very long time. I think it was just a little over a year ago where we met in West LA somewhere at a WeWork to kind of catch up and talk about what you guys were planning at Network 10 and what we were up to. Then we talked about new apps and new ad types, and I showed you some ideas that we were playing around with. And almost exactly a year later, the project got kicked off. Your team took a hold of it, took a hold of the technology and created it. So it's pretty exciting to see it out in the wild so quickly from start to finish.
Yeah, it's been a really fun project. It's been really inspiring for our devs and our designers to work on because it's so different and, it's leading edge technology. So even though it's been a quick project so far, it's not over yet, but it's been really fun for everyone who's been working on it.
One of the things that we want to touch on today is more kind of around the technology as well, and kind of creating the proper foundation for all of this new content and being able to be dynamic, be more engaging with the content and advertisers as well. So there's a press release that just came out very recently. You guys just launched the brand new called Telstra TV App, which is in essence, a Roku white label box in the Australian market through Telstra. A big push around Roku. We won't get into sort of the app details too much. Very interesting kind of approach, but I really wanted to get into the ads piece because with that new launch is also some brand new ads around pause. So we'd love to kind of have you share with us what is it that you launched and what the experience was around the launch with your partners, agencies, and advertisers that kind of bought into that. Some pretty big names.
Sure. Okay, there's a lot there. Well, let me just start from the beginning. So the launch of Telstra TV, which is a Roku device in this market, was the first launch of our first app that's part of our unified app strategy that I referred to before. And what that means for us is bringing all of our apps together on a single code base. So as you would know, Alan, the traditional way of doing things is building an app for iOS, an app for Android, an app for Roku, an app for Samsung, et cetera. And you've just got this universe of apps that can be wieldy to manage. It can be expensive to manage. We have a half insourced, outsourced model for that because we don't have all of the skill sets to manage all of those things in-house because it would simply be too expensive. What the new unified app platform does is it completely tears that paradigm apart and it allows us to start moving everything onto a single code base. So that's really exciting for us. We're obviously using the UI Engine 1 solution to power it, and none of the stuff that we're doing would be possible without it. So it's very exciting for us. It's exciting for our designers as well because it's a high fidelity experience. It's a design-led experience. So our designers are not constrained anymore by what the technology of those particular boxes or TVs make possible, but they can really think about what is just a rich, beautiful, immersive experience for people and bring that to life. So for them, that's really fun as well. But it also means it's a smoother, faster content delivery experience as well. So we launched that with Telstra just last month in June, and it's the first of many. So we will be rolling this out across a whole lot of platforms throughout the year. We plan on having probably about 6 done this year, which is really exciting. And that's kind of the promise of the technology, right? The first one is the big build, and then it's a pretty straightforward build or port to the other platforms. And so it'll be weeks, not months, before we start rolling these things out. And for us, that's really cool because we get to control the user experience and the browsing experience on every platform and have it be consistent, have it be what we want it to be. We're able to better support our broadcast shows because we've designed a very rich and immersive homepage that can now support 2 different user journeys. It can support the broadcast priorities for people who just want to go there for catch up, and they can find that content very quickly and get watching as quickly as possible. And then with the more beautiful design experience, we can also have richer immersive experiences and a better browsing experience for people who come to us as an entertainment destination and might not have anything specific that they want to watch. So that's been really, really nice. As part of the launch, we've also rolled out member gating, so mandatory login, which is part of our data strategy. So it'll provide further scale for our data and targeting capabilities, and we'll roll out that logged in experience across all the platforms as well. And as you mentioned, we've also launched what we think is quite an innovative ad solution. We call it the Premium Pause. And we love it because what it does is it allows us to have really beautiful branding experiences for our advertisers outside of pre and mid rolls. And so the part about it that we really like is that it's high impact, but it's non-intrusive. So it gives brands an opportunity to be where the user is, but not in an intrusive way, yet in a big, beautiful way.
From a very high level point of view, I think one of the things that you touched on, two critical things actually that pulled this system together. One was a single code based approach. So you can, whatever experiences you create, whatever apps, you can kind of roll that out onto other platforms, starting with Telstra TV. But then any of the experiences and ads, the premium pause ad that you create can then also be rolled out on the other platforms without having to change code or even design. So it's kind of those two pieces that come together with the Adobe After Effects designer workflow that your design team went absolutely bonkers on when they got control of that. They just started spinning designs up very quickly, and it feels like sort of the combination of the art and science ultimately is really what your team were able to pull together to bring out these premium pause ads. So kind of exciting to see. And when we started sharing some ideas that we were playing around with, and some of our customers were playing around with, pause was definitely one of them because it's a user action. Nothing else is going on screen, and so you can sort of minimize the video and then bring on that experience. But there were a number of other ad types that I think we explored as well. There were banners and bugs, and I'm curious to know, out of sort of the plethora of possibilities, what was it about the pause ad that really led it to sort of the pole position when you guys were talking to agencies and some of the large brands like Dell and Mitsubishi and eBay and some of the other guys that you guys are talking to?
It's a good question because there was a lot that we could do. There were a multitude of options that we could have gone forward with. We liked the pause ad for a number of reasons. First of all, we took a bit of a data-based approach to it. We wanted something that would be straightforward in its execution, but also could scale really quickly. So our data showed us that users were creating 25,000 pause events each day, and that was just on the Roku device. So when you think about that opportunity, that's quite big, and those numbers we did were in January, so that's a lower usage period for us. So now when we're in the midst of our MasterChef period and really high ratings periods of time, the number of pause events that we're seeing each day is far higher than 25,000. So we liked it for the scale, but we also liked it, and this is probably not necessarily true just of the pause ad, but it operationalizes well too. So it just plugs into our ad server. So we've got GAM, Google Ad Manager, and so it was really nice because you get all the usual campaign management services that you expect from a digital advertising campaign as well. So, but the other piece of it was the fact that we have seen pause ads in other markets. We know that it's one of those formats that can get traction pretty quickly with the advertisers, but we thought we would put it on steroids a little bit with some of the capabilities that the new platform allows us to do. So it's very premium, it can be animated, it can be a richer experience, but it's also non-intrusive because, as you said, it's the user initiates a pause. So it's not interfering with their content experience, it's not over the top of content. So we thought that it was a good toe in the water as well around what users would accept outside of pre and mid-rolls. We think about the pause ad more like a really beautiful magazine experience, but that combined with logged in users, first party data, right down to the fact that, we know people's names, we know where they, the suburb that they're in. So you could either do geo-based offerings, you could do one-to-one based offerings. So, it's magazine direct mail via a pause ad, if you like. So, it's a different part of the funnel probably than, broadcast ads, but there are so many possibilities with it once you've got logged in members and, a rich profile of people. You can do a lot more for your advertisers on that front.
Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting year, rolling out more apps on more platforms, exploring some of these new ad types. But Liz, it's kind of amazing still that a year ago we got to meet here in LA during your tour of the US or the West Coast, and here we are with the live app with some pretty interesting premium pause ads that you've rolled a lot with some major advertisers, and it's so exciting to be working with you guys and partnering with you guys on this stuff. Really appreciate the vision you guys had and really grabbing onto this and taking it a lot further than we expected it in this amount of time. Pretty incredible.
Oh, thank you. Well, we're really happy with how it's gone. It's been a really fun project. We think that the execution that we've done, particularly thinking about the experience on a Roku, which is one of the more challenging platforms to develop for, we're really happy with what it looks like. It's beautiful, it's smooth, it's rich. My digital technology manager just keeps telling me how much he loves it, so that's really great. But I think we wouldn't have got there as quickly if we hadn't augmented our team with some of your experts as well. So the learning journey and the skills transference happened really, really quickly. So it's just been a great experience so far.
Well, for us as well. And I can't wait to be able to head back to Sydney. The first time there last September with you guys, and I fall in love with the city itself and your team and everything. So we can't wait to get back there, and hopefully we can get back on another video call here in 6 months or whatever and talk about some of the new ad types and new platforms and new ideas that have emerged now that your team is firing on all cylinders. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alan. Nice to see you. Thanks for the time.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.